Welcome to episode number 28 of the Swoop Shoes podcast. Got our host, myself, Eric, got Ernest and Armani, the whole crew. You know what it is. In
Sure.
this episode, we're going to talk about the crazy, insane happening, which was free agency, which started last week,
I'll
July
just say,
1st.
but before we get into that real quick, this Brittany Griner thing just got to be addressed, man. Like I,
Yeah.
it's definitely free Brittany Griner. Um, it's also ridiculous that it's gotten to this point, but also like going to these other countries is no joke either. So hopefully something can get figured out when she's able to come back to the States because her she pleaded guilty today
Yeah.
and she can face
Yeah,
10 years if
10 years
convicted.
if convicted.
And man, it's just crazy, man. It's gonna be an ongoing thing. Like this is probably I can't remember anything like on this type of level like we've heard in the past couple of years. Like I remember ASAP Rocky got locked up overseas.
Mhm.
There's somebody else that I'm missing, very notable as well too. That got locked up overseas that had overseas issues and it was able to come back to the States.
Was it 21
Oh,
Savage?
what 21 and what's his kid's name? Was it Lamelo? No, Leangelo.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Leangelo.
So ball, yeah.
Yes.
hmm
Yeah, with that whole situation. So that was just like that was a situation I felt like it took like maybe 2 weeks to get resolved. This situation is taking months, you know. So
Over
something
100 days,
definitely,
man.
yeah, and something has to come to a conclusion. I seen that she wrote a letter out to Joe Biden, just asking to come home, and hopefully, something can get resolved in this situation. So I just
Yeah.
wanted to bring that up real quick.
No, for real. Shout out to Brittany Griner, free BG. We are BG. Please, listen. Google's free, right? We don't have to tell you where to find information to donate. Sign us petitions to get her home. It's crazy because man, like you see the videos and stuff, and it's just like you can only imagine what she's probably going through,
Hmm.
and the treatment she's getting. That to me is the most concerning thing. And it's disgusting at this point because it's becoming more political. It feels like
They've definitely been trying
obviously
to make an example.
right,
hmm
Yep.
exactly. Obviously with Russia and things of that nature, and it's a sad situation. We need her home, and we need her well, because yeah, man, this is no joke. So, please, send your prayers, you know, sign those petitions, call, the offices and things of that nature to really like try to make an impact so we could get her home because this is some serious stuff.
definitely, man. So hopefully she gets the justice that she deserves and they bring her home. So I'm agreeing with both of you 100%. So she's got to come home. So as we segue to the happenings of NBA free agency, it was bound to be a little lackluster until the big bombshell happened 3 hours prior to the start of free agency, back on last Thursday, July 1st. Kevin Durant, reportedly through his business partner, Rich Kleiman, announcing that he's asking for a trade. The Phoenix Suns and the Miami Heat were his top teams, his top priorities. Also, the Brooklyn Nets also looking to ship out Kyrie, his preferred destination, to the Los Angeles Lakers. And we have a lot of news just brewing out from those two happenings, and a lot of domino effects happening with those announcements, especially with with what's happened with the Utah Jazz in trading for a first round pick prior to the Kevin Durant announcement, with them in the Jazz trading the Nets getting Royce O'Neal and trading their first round pick for 2023 to the Utah Jazz. Also, the next day, the Timberwolves and the Jazz trading T-Wolves trading essentially five first round picks and a slew of players to the Utah Jazz for
Who
Rudy
seen
Gobert,
that coming?
which
Yeah.
we did not see that coming. Honestly, I thought that was over. I was overpaid by the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Definitely.
I get why they did that for rim protection and also to pair him up with Carl Towns. There were some rumblings like earlier during the season that those two wanted to pair up, but at that price, now what it did was it literally set the market of what the Brooklyn Nets want in return for Kevin Durant.
Hmm.
So now we're in the kind of a pause, wait and see moment until which team blinks first, which team makes that move to get Kevin Durant. And then once that happens, Kyrie Irving, he's on the market. We'll see who how the Lakers and the Nets will create and get this trade going, or do they add a third team? We heard the Spurs not so long ago they're trying to get into a three team deal. Heard about the Phoenix Suns, Miami Heat, like a whole bunch of teams trying to get in on this trade. But we will see. Summer League is Summer League Vegas is starting this end of this week, Friday and Saturday. So there's gonna be a whole lot of GMs flooding Vegas because you know those GMs talk, personnel talk. So we'll see what goes down in Vegas because that's when the talks will start to ramp up even more.
Hmm.
So what are your thoughts about all happenings, the free agency, the whole Brooklyn Nets saga, and on
Well,
top of that, let me go ahead.
before we get into the Brooklyn Nets saga, I want to go through the free agency moves that happened, throughout the
Yeah,
week.
we're gonna do that. Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
do that. Mhm. So, so we're gonna go through the free agency tracker. First one, Zach Levine, he re-signs with the Bulls,
Woo!
5 years, $215 million.
Here comes the money.
So all right, the Bulls had no choice but to do this. Like you're not gonna get if you trade the man one, you're not gonna get the comparable talent in return. But also at the same time, I feel like Chicago was good. Like I'm not gonna sit here and act like they weren't a good team. They went through a lot of adversity last season when it came to injuries and COVID, and that kind of derailed their season because when everyone was healthy on that squad,
They started
they
24
they
and 10.
yes they were top of the East, and you can't refute that. So um, for the now, I'm not too concerned about the deal. It makes sense. I think the Bulls will get that return as far as the success that they're looking for, at least for this roster. But also the flip side to that is what does that look like on the back end on that fourth year and that fifth year?
Mm.
Um, and that's the concern I have about them moving forward because Vucevic is going into a contract year this year, right? So, what is that going to look like? Patrick Williams, does he take another step as they expect? Because, at some point you're going to have to kind of see some maturity in his game a little bit more. As because I believe they wind up gonna I think they're gonna wind up getting off Vooch at the trade deadline.
Mm.
I personally wanted them to go to try to get Gobert somehow, or even
That
try
would
to
have been
get
a
in the
perfect fit. Hmm.
right, or
Yeah,
to get in the DeAndre Ayton
Yeah.
sweepstakes. Because I just feel like they need a big that's rim running, but also just like his skill set is predicated to more defensive rim protecting rather than offensive shooting. Um, because you have two guys who are ball dominant that can score wherever on the floor. So, you know, I get Vucevic adds spacing, but also defensively, Chicago tends to struggle.
Hmm.
At least in the playoffs. So during the regular season, they were I believe a top 15 defensive team in the league. But I think in the playoffs is where they got really exposed, especially Vucevic. When you're going against Milwaukee and they're playing Giannis at the five, I mean Vucevic is food, right? So
Right.
um, you know, I think they should try. I wanted them to try to go out and get JaVale McGee, but he got signed by Dallas. Um, you know, hey, listen, Zach, get your money, man. I hope he balls out. I hope he stays healthy. Because it's good to see Chicago be competitive.
Hmm.
You know, I personally think they should have tried to go out and get a point. I mean, they did go out and get a point guard, but like they needed. I just felt like with Lonzo not.
Somebody more
Not fully
serviceable than
healthy.
Goran Dragic
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah,
Goran Dragic is
because
great.
he's at the end of his career. Like,
Right, right,
he's more of
exactly.
like a third stringer. When you
Right,
right,
really think about it.
and then and
like
then
the veteran presence.
right.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
he's gonna have to play starter minutes at least for now.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
then Kobe Wright is not a traditional point guard. He's a shoot first guard. So,
Hmm.
um, we'll see how it all pans out. They're kind of bringing back the same band from last season, but we'll see, man. I'm just more concerned for them long term than it is for the now. It's like first
Hmm.
couple years, you know, how old is DeMar DeRozan? 33, right?
30,
33,
yeah,
34, I think. So,
I think he's
you
younger than
know,
that.
he might be younger than that though. I think he might
Yeah,
be 32. Armani, can
I
you
got
fact check that for me,
I
please?
got you.
Thank you,
DeMar
sir.
DeRozan.
and also they gave up those picks for the Vucevic trade to the Magic.
Right, and they gave up picks to get DeMar DeRozan. So,
Yep.
like, I'm just concerned what that looks like down the line. I feel like they're gonna have to make some moves
He's gonna
at
be
the deadline.
33 in August.
33, okay, right,
Okay.
33.
Okay.
He'll be 33 next month, right? So, again, like you have to. What does that look like in 5 years, right?
Hmm.
So, you know, uh, you're gonna have Zach Levine on his last year in his deal, about roughly around 50 something million a year, and then we got
Oof.
50 million left on that deal, and then DeMar DeRozan's gonna be 38. Like, what does that look like on the back
Yeah,
end of
man.
that, right? So, they had to do it now for sure, but that's my main concern with Chicago going
So
forward.
I'm I think I think the what we're getting from like this whole this free agency and just how teams make moves nowadays. Like a team that's in Chicago's position that I guess you could say then NBA purgatory, but not really because like they can contend, but it's like, we seen what happened when they went up against the Bucks. They got feasted on.
Hmm.
So it's like when you sign these guys to these big contracts, especially the way players move nowadays. Like if a guy signs a 5-year deal, you don't expect him to be with the team for 5 years. Some slip through the cracks, like Bradley Bill, but in this situation, like, do we really
We'll talk
see?
about Bradley Bill, but
Yeah,
yeah.
like with Zach Levine's standpoint, like in the Chicago Bulls standpoint, like they're not worried about later. Like 5 years is kind of like we'll cross that bridge
The
when we
bridge.
get there.
I
But
feel you.
Hmm.
right now it's like, all right, I have DeMar DeRozan on my team. I have Zach Levine on my team. I have two probably maybe top 10 best, wing players, ball dominant players in the league, right? And I just need a big just to kind of have like our own big three to possibly contend for a championship. Like I'm thinking about that right now. Like
Mhm.
later, it's kind of like what the Lakers are going through. It's kind of like, man, screw the picks. Like we'll get to that bridge. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. You feel
I
me?
mean,
So
LeBron
yeah,
James doesn't, doesn't make a
right.
big difference in that
But
equation. But yes, I totally understand what you mean. Yeah.
especially like you put all your money in one place. So it's like when you get to that 5 year standpoint, you're like, wait a minute, we just paid Zach Levine $50 million. Like, what are we gonna do? You know? And then that's when it's like a never ending cycle.
Yeah, man. So good for Zach Levine. He get his money, but
Mhm.
these teams will be saddled with salary cap issues down the line. So we'll see about that. Next up, Bradley Beal. He opted out of his contract and then re-signs with the Wizards 5 years, 251, two hundred
Here
and
comes
fifty-one
the
million.
money.
Crazy,
Ooh. Now there
I
was
crazy.
some
just
rumblings about him. There was some rumblings about him being traded, but
mm,
with that contract, he stays. To me, I think he finishes his career in Washington.
mm,
He's gonna bring a winner. He's gonna bring other free agents to Washington. Only time will tell. But that's a cornerstone. He's been saying all along he's loyal to the Wizards, and they pay him back with that contract. So we'll
you know,
see
every,
about that. So
everybody had KD projected to go because
yeah,
when Bradley Beal
because
declined the option, they was like, all right, he had sources that somebody was gonna come. Like, but I'm just like, all right, how authentic are those sources? So, but I just hate a player to say, I want to win, I want to win, I want to compete, and then it's just like, all right, they throw you the bag, like, of course you're gonna take it, right? But it's just like, bro, like I potentially can have the chance. Not saying that many people want to come to Washington D.C., but it's just like if I have potentially the chance, take less money to help my team get better. Like you have to leverage that.
but they also did made it. They also got a point guard with Monte Morris,
Mm-hmm.
so that can take the pressure off of
They
him
got
on off the ball.
listen. They got Monte Morris and they got Will Barton. The Wizards will be better,
Mm-hmm.
but I have to say this. So he signed a 5-year, $251 million deal. It's the only player in the league right now
No trade clause.
with a no trade clause.
Mm-hmm.
It's very tricky by Mr. Beal and his
Hmm.
agency because get your money. Never leave money on the table. And then you ask out later. Because that's exactly what this says in this language in that contract frame. Like, cool, I'll sign 5 years. I want to be here. You say the whole spiel, blah 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 blah. We get it, but we know what you said before you signed that deal. You said you want to be in a position to win,
Mm-hmm.
and
Hmm.
I'm looking at a starting five that says Daniel Gafford, Kyle Kuzma, Bradley Beal, uh, Will
Porzingis.
Barton,
And Monte Morris,
and Monte Morris. Oh, I totally forgot about Porzingis
and you got
Hmm.
and Rui.
and Rui
Hopefully he
Hachimura.
can
Yeah,
take a
Rudy.
step. Yeah,
So you take those components because those are like the guys that's gonna help you push.
that sounds like a playing team to me.
You see what I'm saying? So I get it. Get your money, but we know what you said, bro, and I know what that no trade clause means. So
Mm-hmm.
let's see when we're on episode 3,000 2 years from now, and, and we have to talk about Bradley Beal requesting a trade from the Washington Wizards, and he has a list of teams he would like to go to. So
But you
listen, I
signed
get
that
it.
no
I
trade
understand.
clause. Like,
I listen. I yeah. That just tells me you can't. You can only trade me where I want to go. That's what that says to me. But like I always said, get your money. The Washington will be better though. Like that, I have to say. Remember, Bradley Beal was out damn near more than half the season. So
But the question is, will he still keep up that same level of play? Because when he had that injury, he wasn't really the same.
I I I think so. I think he will. I think Kuzma's going to take a step. Again,
Hopefully,
he has better role players around him, like Monte Morris and Will
right.
Barton. Like Will Barton, we all know Will Barton don't pass the ball. So
the Matt
like,
Oh yeah.
like we know that dude
tunnel
is a nut.
vision.
Yeah. So like like that offensive pressure will be alleviated a little bit off of him. Porzingis, I can still be productive as well. Yeah, you don't know, but I think he can still be productive. And then, like I said, Kuzma will take a step. And so I think Washington will be better. Daniel Gafford, his game should grow a little bit. Washington will be
I like
better,
him.
but considering the teams in the East,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're not going to make much noise, but they'll be
Mm-hmm.
competitive, I believe.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So next up, these two guys are unsigned yet. James Harden, who opted out surprisingly of his deal. So we expect him to re-sign with the Sixers, probably for less money.
Yep.
DeAndre Ayton, very interesting. He's still unsigned. So the word on him is that he's looking to sign an offer sheet.
Might
The
be
Indiana
Indiana.
Pacers,
Hmm.
maybe the Indiana Pacers are looking to sign an offer sheet. Now, here's the thing though, if that happens, Kevin Durant to the Suns out the door.
Yeah,
So
yeah. The
now,
Mm.
Suns can't match, and they can't send that salary out because then he'll be signed. And then Miles Turner makes less. So it'll
Yeah,
just take them. They don't have Phoenix will have to go through leaps and bounds to kind of make that trade work and those salaries work, and they'll literally have to gut the whole roster in order to get Kevin
exactly.
Durant. So yeah, that'll be bad.
So we'll
Um,
just wait to see what happens.
yeah,
Just
and and,
waiting.
and,
Waiting
and as
for
far
that.
as James Harden, James Harden, he was going to return to Philly regardless. I think him opting out
Yeah,
obviously was making room for PJ Tucker, who
for
signed a
PJ
3 year
Tucker.
deal with them,
We got to talk
which
about
was
that one too.
guaranteed at what age? What age is he?
Yeah,
36.
he's
36.
36. He's gonna be
He's
Yeah,
he's gonna be 40
36.
when
thirty
yeah he's
six.
gonna be 40 once that contract runs out.
Right,
He's
Make
36.
11 million.
it's guaranteed too.
It's
So like,
guaranteed.
whoa, you know,
Guaranteed.
and he has a player
I'm shocked
option,
that I'm kind of shocked that Pat Riley let him go. Like you
Yeah.
kind of
he
figured that
wasn't
he was
paying
gonna
that
replace
price
some
though.
pieces.
But he wasn't
Yeah,
paying that
that's true. He
price. He
wasn't.
wasn't paying that price. It
Yeah,
was 30. It was a
Excuse me.
30 million
He's
dollar
he's
contract.
he's 37.
yeah. He's
So he'll be
30.
Yeah.
Yeah,
41.
40.
He'll be like heading into 41 when that contract is up. So I mean,
At
I get
11
it.
million. Jeez.
I get it. And the Rockets and Sixers were in talks as well of trying to get Eric Gordon and all. And for some reason, the Rockets turned down a first round pick, which is like, what do y'all think y'all getting for Eric Gordon? Like this Rudy Gobert thing really got people juiced up, thinking that like
Exactly.
y'all can get like the haul for these players. It's like, yo, it is not the league's fault that Minnesota overpaid. Like
Yeah.
we have to understand that, and that's a mistake we'll get to. The Nets, I think, are making of this Kevin Durant thing. But yeah, so I anticipate that, and then Philly is still trying to work on moving Tobias Harris in that contract. So
Mm.
we'll see,
Uh-huh.
but James Harden will return probably on a shorter max deal with less money, to that nature, and yeah.
All right. So the next on the tracker, Jalen Brunson. He signs with the Knicks, four
Eric, you could
years,
take that one.
$104 million.
I got a
Mm.
theory on that though.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No, what's your theory? What's your theory?
It's not official yet. He hasn't
That's
officially
yeah.
signed a contract.
That's right.
So
Mm.
There's something in the making.
right. So which tells me and he's not leaving. Like he's going to join the Knicks, but I think this is going to be more of a signing trade
Signing trade.
or
Uh,
something is not right.
Something's
So
brewing.
yeah. So we
And
have to
plus,
see
and
with
plus, and plus, with the whole quote unquote tampering charge that they made, that the Knicks might
yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah. No,
which makes no
don't.
sense.
It doesn't make sense. But y'all was tampering though. Come on, son.
I mean,
Like, don't get me
they were
wrong.
there.
Tampering happens around the league. That's just so.
Y'all made it
So
It
obvious,
was
yeah,
blatant.
man.
It was so blatant.
it's a
It was so
ridiculous
blatant.
rule.
Like,
It's a ridiculous rule that the NBA has in place. We all agree. But
it was
according
so
to the
blatant that
rules, come on, y'all was acting like, and I hate to quote Stephen A. Smith, but y'all was really acting like some college like recruits trying to get Jalen Brunson to sign with y'all. Y'all had the whole organization at a playoff game. That is
Yeah, fact,
insane.
fact. And I try to give them the benefit of the doubt as far as Julius Randle's concerned, because he's from Texas, he's from Dallas. I was like, you know what? All right,
Right? Yeah.
maybe, yeah, but it's just like, nah, the team
Allen
is there.
Houston was
Like,
there.
right.
Worldwide West. I'm like, what are all y'all doing in here, son? So
I mean, no disrespect to Dallas, but they ain't the prime vacation spot.
right,
Just
right.
saying.
right.
Right.
So listen, good move by the Knicks. They got their point guard that they
Got
needed.
their guy. That's right.
Um, now what do you do? Derrick Rose needs to be dangled
Derrick
out there. I
Rose
think I think
hasn't.
that his time is up. I don't believe for 1 second that you guys are trading Julius Randle. I think Knicks fans got to relax on that.
Yeah,
I don't think it's happening, at least right now. Barrett will get a max extension, I believe, but at the end of the year, not right now.
yeah.
I still think he kind of has to polish his game a little bit, kind of see,
Mhm.
what kind of growth he's
Because you
had
know
throughout
why?
the year and all what he's
You,
worked on. So, you know, listen,
also,
the Knicks
the Derrick
roster. Hold on, Eric. The
okay.
Knicks roster looks good, but I
Isaiah
think
Hartenstein deal looks. I really
I
like
like.
that signing though.
What's crazy? I actually wanted him on the Lakers. I think he was going to be really good for us. But Isaiah Hartenstein's a good pickup. To replace Nerlens Noel.
Mhm.
So he
No
could come
hands,
off the
no
bench
limbs.
for from yeah he could come off the bench for Mitchell Robinson. we'll see,
They
man.
also signed.
We'll see. I think I like the roster, but again, like it's the Knicks, man.
Still need
We
some
got to
more.
see them produce.
They still got to clean up the guy on the roster. Evan Jalen Brunson signing. They needed the point guard. They got their point guard. Um, so now it's basically the next move. Maybe a sign and trade, like you mentioned, Ernest. Still got Derrick Rose on the roster, Evan Fournier. So what they do? What they gonna do with those two? Cam Reddish still on the roster. Is he gonna be? Is he gonna be still on the roster? Is he gonna be traded? Who knows? Um, we just gotta wait and see. Um, Now, do I expect them to be a little bit better? Yes. By how many wins? Don't know yet because we got to see how the roster shakes out. Um, and plus I really need to see the starting lineup change because the backcourt of Evan Fournier and Jalen Brunson is going to be murder on defense.
That will be
Yeah,
terrible on
So
defense.
yeah,
yeah, so
yeah.
either you got to
It's
put
gonna be worse
in
than
Cam
Kemba.
Reddish as
Yeah,
you got to put Cam Reddish in at the starting two, or even Quentin Grimes as starting two, and have RJ start at three, or
we
put
all
RJ at the
know
two,
we
Cam at the
we all,
three, or
we, we all know Tibbs is not a fan of Cam Reddish, so we will gladly give you Kendrick Nunn
yeah.
and a second round pick for him. But we'll talk soon. Uh,
So that's why I said like Cam Reddish is he also on the trade block. So we'll see about that. But I like to sign a lot. We're also going to talk about Mitchell Robinson and Isaiah Hartenstein later on. So the Knicks
I
got
mean,
that guy, Jalen
yeah,
Brunson,
yep, yep, yep.
and then we can move on from there. He's not. And then he's like, oh, he's gonna be the savior. And like, no, he's not a savior. He's gonna be he's an upgrade at point guard. He's adding it's an added piece to what they're trying to do. He's not the make him a contender for a championship. That's that's not gonna happen. So it's an added piece that they needed. You got your point guard, and now you can like interchange a hint with Brunson quickly, RJ in the lineup, or Grimes, Brunson is backcourt with RJ. So now Tiz has no excuse to play around with that guard rotation. That's my thing.
All right, we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, now it's all up on Tiz. All right, so the next one, a real interesting one, Miles Bridges. Man, oh man,
If
oh man.
Bag Fumbler was a
If
person,
fumbling a bag, but yes, he's it. He is
yeah,
it.
man.
The Hornets. They took away the qualifying offer, and they took away the possible 5 year, 173 million that he was offered.
They
Why?
said
I've been
they
Why?
about
Because
to
you
said
wanted to be a street dude, bro.
from the
they
trenches. That
Yo.
they said just the NBA is a side quest for him, but yo, they
that's not the
said he's the
campaign.
first.
That's not the main mission.
Yo.
They said
You
he's
got to
the
beat the
first
story
NBA player, the first NBA player to prioritize the street life and NBA life second. Yo,
Yo,
and what
Wow.
happened? That was he got like arrested right the day before free agency,
The
right?
day before.
Yeah,
The day before.
day
On the
crazy
before.
man,
felony on the
Yep.
felony charge.
TMZ
crazy.
broke
Now
the
that's
news.
serious.
Yeah. So
Wow.
listen, for one, I want to address no man. Be serious. No man should be putting their hands on a woman. That is something that we don't condone, especially here at the Swoosh Swoosh podcast. We are not condoning any type of domestic violence. So let's get that out the way. Secondly, Miles Bridges, he cooked, man. I mean, like it's such a
It's sad. It's
it,
sad, man.
it's crazy, and it's crazy to say this, and I'm gonna say it, but it's crazy that I'm gonna put this on air. But if he was in the NFL, he'd be fine.
Mm.
You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like, so, like the NBA really has to make a decision. The Charlotte Hornets have to make a decision. Is he going to play? You know, what's the suspension going to look like? Are they going to release him? Like, it's just so many variables. Um, by him getting into that well, no, not getting into that, but by him committing that crime,
Hmm.
and doing such a heinous act like that. It listen, he gets what he deserves, and it is what it is. I have no further comment on that. It's just unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Michael Jordan will have to
Yep.
make a decision, man. Yep.
That whole franchise is like, what's going
Hey,
on?
listen.
Yeah.
I think he need a culture change. You know what I'm saying? We there's somebody we can send over there to
It ain't happening.
Look, we need him to get the guy that's on your screen right now.
I know, right? I know.
All right, so next up, Anthony Simons. He re-signs with the Portland Trailblazers, 4 years, 100 million.
So with
Yeah.
this signing,
That
this makes me
I
think
really like
like
this signing.
I
I
do.
really like this signing.
What's the direction of the Portland Trailblazers? Because like it's pretty much they're in rebuild mode, and so what's the time? Like the that's crazy, right? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
That
That's
is
really
crazy.
cool. But Dame getting up out of there. That's the question. You know?
so so a report came out today from the New York Post that I'm gonna bring it up right now about Mr. Dame. And you know, it's weird what's going on up there because that they're in a I wouldn't call them rebuild, they're in a retool
Okay.
mode.
hmm
Um, but it was reported today by the New York Post that the new Blazers owner, Jody
yeah.
Allen.
They announced that they're not trying to sell the team.
No. She said right now, down the line, she plans to though. That's what she said.
Mm.
Mm,
Insert Phil Knight. Shout out to Nike. Um, so New York Post reported today that Blazers owner Jody Allen is refusing to talk to Damian Lillard for reasons we may
Mm.
not know. Damian Lillard wanted to sit down when she didn't. Excuse me. Damian wanted to sit down and she didn't return his call, and he tried to email her. She just never responded. Now, this
mm,
could be aggregated.
Mm.
This could be aggregated, as a
true.
lot of reports are, and blown out of proportion, and it just clicks for stuff. Dame is one to kind of put it out there like, yo, this ain't a problem, or it is, like he won't. If it is a problem, he
He'll
won't
tell you
really
what's
say
up.
it. Right,
Right.
right. So like, I am not going to run with that and say like, there may be something there. I believe, Dame will address that, and normally when we hear it from him, we leave it alone. But something to be said about that because I don't know what's the reason. Because it's they they got Jeremy Grant in that trade.
Mm,
Um, you know,
hmm
they drafted Shaden Sharp, which I think is the sleeper of the draft.
hmm
Um, they just waived Eric Bledsoe,
And they
re-signed Anthony
and also
Simons,
and they just signed Gay Payne the second.
which was a really good signing. Like Golden State, what are you doing?
hmm
Um, but
They were over the luxury tax. That's why.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep, they played the Caruso card. It's
They
exactly what
they
that was.
exactly. They're going through the 2020 phase. Like you can't keep everybody, you know?
Yeah.
So
hmm
I just find it weird. I'll be doing some digging on that to try to get some information and trying to formulate something from that. But I don't know. Yeah, it seems peculiar over there.
I'll say
I,
before next year free agency, I could probably see Damon in New Jersey. Do I know where he's going? Don't know, but I think
He had his
like
opportunity. The
yeah,
Godfather talk was there. That's all I'm gonna
yeah.
say, Dame. The Godfather talk was there when LeBron showed
But
up at your
you know
front
how
door.
Dame is, man.
I know, but he had an opportunity, and I
Hmm.
think now that window might be closed because there's a pending thing that's about to happen with the Lakers, hopefully.
Hmm.
But that would have been very special to see. I think Dame fits Showtime and LA, and
Sheesh, man. I
that
would
would have
have
been something to
got my
watch.
Dave jersey, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it is what it is, and there's
Hmm.
certain paths people take. You know, maybe if Kyrie's gone and KD stays,
You would see him being a
may,
replacement.
maybe who knows? I
Okay.
don't know,
That'd
but
still be cool. Yeah.
yeah, I would like that. But I want Dame to win. I want him to be in a winning situation. I think
Hmm.
he's one of the few guys in the league I think that deserves that opportunity, man. And to kind of see him win a ring. It reminds me like Iverson. Like I wanted Iverson as
Yeah.
much as I love Kobe. And the Lakers who wanted to win no matter at any cost. It'd have been nice to see Iverson get
I
a
think
ring.
with Dame, he ran his course, and that's what you was alluding to. Is like we all seen him thug it out for his time in
Hmm.
Portland, and
Right.
he told us like, "Yo, I'm not going anywhere. Like, even if it gets tough, even if it gets bad, like I'm gonna still be down with the grind." But now it's just like, all right, you in the kind of I wouldn't really say the latest stage of his career, but like he's in the prime of his career, and it's just like, okay, the roster has regressed in a sense, and we've also been to the conference finals and we got swept by the Golden State Warriors. And since then, we haven't been any further than that. So we're just like, okay, like, what is this team doing for me? And if they're not doing anything for me, I need to get out and explore other places that can do something for me.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Hmm.
All right, so next up, Colin Sexton, Cavaliers. He remains unsigned, and there's some rumblers out there saying that there's no market for Colin Sexton.
Sheesh.
Which is
Hmm.
unfortunate because Colin Sexton is a really good player.
Hmm.
Like
He's very solid.
like yeah, he's
Um,
20 points per game. Like you're not gonna take a flyer on him.
what? Say that again. I'm sorry.
Like averaging 20 points per game, you're not gonna take a flyer on Colin
Right.
Sexton.
And that's what that's what I'm like concerned about. Like, is it his injury like more of a concern, which doesn't make sense to me either. I know he's a small guard, but he can get to the paint, he can score, he can shoot the ball. It needs improvement, but he can shoot. Um, Listen, if he falls off the wire, becomes a free agent. Man, like that.
Lakers could use him.
What 6 man?
Hmm.
Easy.
He
Yep,
plays with intensity.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, I hope he finds a spot. He is a good player. Obviously with the emergence of Darius Garland and him getting that new contract, and we'll talk about that in a few moments. He's kind of like fell out, the picture frame of what their rebuild is going to look like because it is Garland, it is Mobley, it is Allen. Those are the three pillars for them, and he's kind of like the odd man out in that situation. So
Yeah.
um, I hope he finds a spot, man. Because there's a lot of good guards. Him, even Dennis Schroeder's still on the market.
Hmm.
And
Yep.
Dennis Schroeder's a good player. So yeah, I hope he finds a spot soon.
Next up, Mitchell Robinson, four
Yeah, we
years,
talked about
60
that
mil. We
with
talked
the
about
Knicks.
that. That's Knicks needed that. They needed to make that move, and I'm glad they. Oh, by the way, little tidbit: Mitchell Robinson becomes the first Knicks player drafted by the Knicks to get a second contract since Charlie Ward.
That's
That's
disgusting.
how. That's just how early. Yo,
Yo, that shows ineptitude. Like that
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 shows
just
it
shows
exactly, man.
incompetence. That shows his lack of just like running amok. What are you doing?
That just shows the
Oh
failure of
man,
drafting
Charlie.
and
You just
developing,
said
man.
Charlie Ward. Charlie Ward.
Yeah.
Yo, the Knicks. It, 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 this is the stuff that bothers me about them because like I understand this. I understand the sentiment, right? When it comes to like the new like team on the block, right? How Brooklyn came and everyone was donning them as the new champs and everything, and the hype for Brooklyn. And I feel that as a Laker fan because we get the same vitriol with the Clippers, right? Like,
Right.
so I feel for the Knicks. 'Cause I'm like, yeah, like we the staples in this town. But then like, and yes, the Lakers have made questionable moves in their existence. We know this. But the Knicks, bro, it's like that. You haven't extended or re-sign a player you drafted since Charlie Ward. Like you guys were rebuilding this whole time. So it's like, what were you doing?
It's like
Phil
Oh man,
it's like the
Jackson,
recycling logo, like
Steve
yo,
just straight up.
Mills, Glenn
Yeah,
Grunwald, Scott Layden, Isaiah Thomas. Oh
David Lee.
David Lee,
man,
Larry
no, just talking about the
Brown.
executives.
Oh yeah,
Larry
yeah, yeah.
Brown, yeah, talking
Larry
about the
Brown era.
executives. Oh,
Whew.
I mean, like
Yeah, I just had to let that off
anyway,
because I was just like, what, what?
anyway,
Yo,
so
Eric, I'm actually interested to know where did you find that at?
no, it's we've been tracking that. It's like we haven't because RJ Barry was about to. We've been tracking that for years. So
Oh
like we drafted Kevin Knox, Frank Ntilikina. You knew that they were not going to re-sign with the Knicks. So and then is
man,
and plus it shows the lack of drafting well and developing your players. And they didn't have that. They didn't have that department well figured out until recently when they got Leon Rose in them. So now they see that you got to draft well and develop your players.
Yo,
So,
that's hilarious, yo.
that stat
but
is
anyway, they
insane,
need
son.
yeah. Anyway, that Mitchell Robinson's not re-signing. They need to do that. That's the center. That's the anchor at center. Even though there's questions about his health, he's been injured, especially last 2 years ago, he missed the playoffs. Last year he played 70, 72, 73 games. So and he deserves that money. And plus he's a second round pick, so 15 million a year, not too shabby for him. Getting his money.
Yo, and yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm still chilling on Charlie Ward. Charlie Ward was drafted at 94, man. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Anyway, um, but yeah, go pick up. Obviously keeping retaining Mr. Robinson. He did have some suitors around the league, but evidently him coming back and then getting that insurance with Isaiah Hartenstein because Mr. Robinson is injury prone. That does help. So, yeah,
hmm
good pickup and good contract too. I think.
Next up, Bobby Portis. He re-signs with the Bucks, 4 years, 49 million.
Damn,
Yeah.
That's a really good signing
Yeah, but he
because
he, des- he
he was
deserved
looking
it
at
too.
10 million. Yeah, he deserved it. He deserved it. He found a that's his new home. He won a championship 2 years ago, and
favorite.
I think he's a fan favorite up in Milwaukee. It's the first time in his career that he's gonna have a stable home in the NBA on the team. So perfect fit for him. Milwaukee, and also they're gonna contend every year with as long as Giannis is there. So why not just pony up and stay there with the
Yeah,
money, and then you can have a chance to win the championships.
yeah, absolutely. I was hoping the allure of Darvin Ham was going to kind of like you know garner some interest, but evidently he has a good spot in Milwaukee. He's entrenched in that franchise now. I believe is one of those like pillar role players. Um, and the guy plays hard every night, man, and you can count on him too. So, well deserved for Bobby Portis.
Yep.
Next up, Kyle Anderson, aka Slomo. He signs with the Minnesota Timberwolves, 2 years, 18 mil.
No,
What a sneak pickup
that's a
by the
solid pickup.
Timberwolves,
Hmm.
and what a
Yep.
loss by Memphis. Because listen, I
I
know we
think
all I know we all make fun of Cat and how Cat he can be, but
we in Minnesota now.
yeah, we're in Minnesota now. You know what I'm saying. We just had to come out and play hard. Yeah, he changed
We in
his whole voice,
Minnesota
but
now.
that Minnesota team is something to look for next season. I think Ant's going to take a major step next year.
Hmm.
Um,
hmm
but yeah, I, I, I I like the signing by Minnesota to get Cal Anderson. You know, good wing. Can defend fours. Can play some five depending on the lineups. Can defend threes and twos for sure. And he scores at his own pace. It's crazy. You can't slow him down any
You
slower. You
can't
can't
rush him
speed
up.
him up. You can't rush him. So yeah, it's good pick up by them to get some good depth after the depth that they lost, in the Gobert trade.
Yeah.
Losing Vanderbilt, losing Patrick Beverly was big. But yeah, good pickup by them.
Yusuf Nurkic, he signs with the Blazers, 4 years, $70 million extension.
Expected. I didn't think Nuggets was gonna go anywhere. I think he's tied to Dame pretty much.
That's
I
his
think,
buddy. Hmm.
yeah, I think if Portland were to trade Dame, then he'll be on the next train smoking out of there, as well. So, but yeah, no issues with that with Nurkic. He did have a down year last season. He was coming back from injury. He had some nicks and stuff like that. But I do think this year, with the addition of Jeremy Grant, helping out on the defensive end, they'll be a little bit better than they were last season.
Next up, Tyus Jones, he signs with the Grizzlies, 2 years, 30 million per year. No, 2 years,
Expected,
30 million.
Hmm.
Yeah,
expected. That's a pretty good contract for Tyus Jones. He was regarded
exactly.
around the league. A lot of teams didn't want him, but
Yeah, they did.
he wanted to stay. With the Memphis Grizzlies. So good contract for them, and he's gonna flourish. He's gonna get a lot of minutes now, because the Anthony Melton is not there anymore. So um, it's gonna good resign,
Hmm.
good retained by Memphis.
Gary Payton II signs with the Portland Trailblazers, 3 years, 28 million.
Yeah, we already spoke about that one when we was talking about the whole Anthony Simons signing, but that's just a really, really solid pickup for the Portland Trail Blazers. Especially in the playoffs, we definitely seen how much of an impact Gary Payton has made. Um, and even in that last couple, like that last three games of the Boston and Warriors series, like he made it tough. He was able to guard guys like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, who's really taller than him. And he has a dog mentality too. So that was a really good sign up. Tough loss for the Golden State Warriors, but they couldn't afford to pay everybody. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Mo Bamba returns to the Magic, 2 years, 21 million.
that was
Man,
actually
I was
interesting.
that was
Yeah.
surprising to me.
Hmm.
And not to be biased, I personally thought he was going to the Lakers because he was linked to them
Mm,
since last season. So
Yeah.
but again, good retained by them. It's clear that they stuck with him. Because obviously with them drafting Banchero
Bankero.
Bancaro, and not Chet. I felt like okay, they're sticking with their two bigs. With well, they have three with Wendell Carter, Mo Bamba, and Jonathan Isaac, who's yet to come back from his ACL injury.
Hmm.
Um, we'll see how that works out. But yeah, fine signing. But I think
Hmm.
there'll be some trades down the line for Orlando.
Oh, yeah. PJ Tucker signs for 3 years, $33 million with the 76ers.
Crazy contract.
Yeah, we addressed that, and that is
Yeah.
just a wild number for that age. But listen, PJ Tucker put in the work, man, and he's going to give you his all. He's going to do all the dirty work. And I think it's a plus for Philly because with Danny Green not being there, they kind of need a 3 and D wing, so to speak. I know PJ Tucker is a corner three guy, but defensively he will help out tremendously for the Sixers.
Hmm.
Hmm. Lou Dort
Whew.
gets a 5 year deal worth $87.5 million to stay with the Oklahoma City Thunder.
You
And
know you
This
know
one
what's crazy?
shocked me, bro. This one
Armani,
shocked me.
Armani had texted the group because when the signings were going off, he's like, "Man, I'm tight. We could have got Lou Dort for the low." And I'm like, well, "Low where?" I'm like, "Did you see what he got? He got almost 90 million."
already
So
wrong, man. Man, that's one of the plays like I had like on my imaginary notebook or whatever. It's like, all right, we got to get him this summer, him or Thibault. One of those two players have to end up in the Lakers jersey by the time training camp rolls around. But shout out to Luke Dort, like he kind of came out of nowhere, especially like especially in the bubble. Everybody was talking about Luke Dort,
Hmm.
and he's just been playing like just progressing every single year, and I just like him being on that young team with Oklahoma City Thunder, especially with drafting Shed. So it's gonna be fun to see what they do for like the next couple of years. But shout out to Lou Dort, he got paid. That's a solid contract, yo.
yeah,
Yeah, man. And they,
OKC is they got something brewing up, down there.
and they still got it,
With the
and they
Slim
still got a whole
Towers
bunch of
and
draft picks coming up.
You
right,
got the perimeter defenders at the top. Like,
yeah,
just,
yeah,
man,
yeah. So yeah,
it's going to be fun.
OKC is going to be looking really good in a few years for sure.
Got the picks.
Malik Monk signs a 2-year deal worth 19 million to go to the Kings,
Oh, my God. All
Here-
right.
Here's
and he
here's
did.
Damn
here's the
sack.
divide between me and Armani because I listen. I love Malik Monk and what he did last season, but guess what? We don't need him this year. We don't. We
Yeah.
don't. I think Malik has has played tremendously last season for what he's done. He was literally like one of the few bright spots we had last year.
I say that.
Um, but at that price, the Lakers weren't trying to get him back. Like they essentially gave that tax payment level exception to Lonnie Walker, and look at the deal. He had comparison to Malik Monk, and we'll get to
Hmm.
Lonnie Walker. Um, Malik Monk got more, and I don't think the Lakers were gonna pay up that much. And also considering if you get Kyrie Irving, you don't need Malik Monk at all.
Yeah, I just think with Malik Monk, to Ernest's point, like Laker Nation, we embrace Malik Monk because he was one of the few players that was consistent every night. Especially with him and Braun on the court. Like I
Yeah,
just can't.
but if he scored, the only issue I had is, and not necessarily with Monk, but if he put up 20 the next game, Vogel was sitting him. I did not understand that.
I mean, Vogel
Hmm.
thing. I mean, he's trash. But anyway, um, there was no way that we was gonna fleece Malik Monk with that contract. He's still young too, so like I just hate to see him, go to a rival, a California rival in the Sacramento Queens. But like he's young, get his money. Yeah, it's just. But we got a replacement, solid replacement in Lonnie Walker.
Yeah, and he wanted to play with his college buddy Jaron Fox. They played with each other. You know, um, back in college. So it's all good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll try to speed it up so because we also want to talk about the Nets and their whole situation. So I'm just gonna give you
Go ahead,
a
just
couple
roll it
more
through.
signings. Yeah. Nick Batum, 2 years, 22 mil, stay with the Clippers. Gary Harris, 2 years, 26 million, stay with the Magic. Nick Claxton gets 2 years, 20 mil, stay with the Nets. Isaiah Hartenstein, we talked about that, 2 years, 16 mil, to go to the Knicks. Kevon Looney, 3 years, 25.5 mil, to stay with the Warriors. John Wall, 2 years, 13 million, to go to the Clippers,
And hold
and he's
on,
still getting 40.
can, this is what pisses me off, right? About like the media, Chris Bouchard and others alike who said the Lakers had to give up that first round pick for John Wall. They had you. This dude was a buyout. He got bought out. Like think about that. Like fans and certain media personnel wanted the Lakers to get off Russell Westbrook so bad last season and give up a first round pick to Houston for John Wall, who got bought out. Think about that. If the Lakers would have made that move, that'd have been like, oh, I'd have been so upset. Like, but yeah, like he's with the Clippers,
Hmm.
and now like him and Reggie have to compete for the starting spot. Yeah, good luck, in that franchise.
Also, Otto Porter Jr. signs with the Raptors, 2 year deal.
More
Say
wings.
20.
That is the Raptors are wing galore. They can literally start guys 6'7" or above as
They're
their
like Pop,
starting five. It's
they're like
insane.
Popeyes, man. Like
Yeah.
just just being a boy and just trying to get mismatches. Good luck.
Bro.
Good
Ooh,
luck.
that
Yeah.
Raptor team is going to be a tough out, man.
Yep, they
Yeah.
are. They really are next season. They
Ooh,
really are. Especially if they keep everybody. Yeah.
yep. Dante DiVincenzo goes to the Warriors, 2 years, 9.3 million.
Kane's
PJ
replacement.
Warren, yep.
Yep.
PJ Warren goes to the Nets, 1 year deal. Jason Tate, 3 years, 22 mil, to stay with the Rockets. Chris Boucher, who signs with the Raptors, 3 years, 35 mil. JaVale McGee, 3 years, 20 million to the Mavericks.
That one was quite
Mar-
interesting because his
Marvin
age.
Bagley,
Yeah.
yeah. Marvin Bagley stays with the Pistons, 3 years, 37 mil. Joe Ingles to the Bucks, 1 year deal, 6.5 mil. Danilo Gallinari, 2 years, 13 mil to the Boston Celtics. Thaddeus Young stays with the Raptors, 2 years, 16 mil. Wesley Matthews stays with the Bucks, 1 year deal. Patty Mills re up the Nets, 2 years, 14 mil. Lonnie Walker, Lakers, 1 year, 6.5 million. Dwayne Dedman, 2 years, 9 mil. And I'm just gonna Daniel House, Sixers, 2 years, 8.5 mil.
Yeah, the Philadelphia
Troy
Rockets.
Brown, Troy Brown, Lakers, 1 year. It was a 1 year deal, veteran minimum. Rookie Rubio, 3 years, 18 mil, goes back to the Cavaliers. Juan Toscano Anderson signs with the Lakers. Kevin Knox gets a deal with the Pistons, 2 years, 6 mil. Bruce Brown signs with the Nuggets, 2 years, 13 mil.
So the Nuggets are going to be a team to be reckoned with because not only did they have the two-time league MVP, they're getting Jamal Murray back next season, they're getting Michael Porter Jr. back next season, and they added Katavis Caldwell Pope, with that trade with the Wizards.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, man. And no, and adding Bruce Brown, oh, he's gonna get so many open looks, that stupid floater that he does, that it's so good. Um,
Yep.
with Jokic, yeah, I like what Denver's doing up there.
Hmm.
All right, just gonna go through the rest of them. Make it quick. Derek Jones Jr., 2 years, 6.5, 6 months to stay with the Bulls. Robin Lopez, 1 year deal with the Cavaliers. Damian Lee goes to the Suns, 1 year deal. Bismack Biyombo stays with the Suns. Cody Martin stays with the Hornets, 4 years, 32 mil. Josh Okogie stays goes to the Suns, 1 year deal. We talked about Goran Dragic going to the Bulls. Gorgie Jane goes to the Spurs, 1 year deal. Edwin Sumner to the Nets, 3 year deal. Thomas Bryant, Lakers, 1 year
I
deal.
love
That's
that
what
pick. I love that pickup with Thomas Bryant. He's a
he goes
stretch
back to the
big,
Lakers.
right? Yeah, because Magic gave him up for Mr. Mike Muscala, Mr. Magic. But yeah,
Yeah, Mike Muscala signed with the Thunder.
yeah, exactly. I like that pickup with Thomas Bryant. Coming back from injury, he did tear his ACL, but nowadays that's not seen as a career-ending injury. Stretch the floor, take some of that pressure off of Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I like his energy he plays with. Play hard.
Kessler Edwards resigns a multi-year deal to stay with the Nets. Caleb Martin signs resigns 3 year deal with the Miami Heat. So that's basically most of the free agent signings and tracking so far. That's happened since last Thursday.
Yeah, so the rest of the free agents that's been sitting around, have been waiting on you know Kevin Durant and the whole Kyrie Irving situation and the Nets. Um, let's get right into it, before we end the show out, But I want to ask you guys, where do you think? All right, one, what is your stance on this situation? Do you think the Nets should stand pat and say, "Hey, man, you're locked in for 4 years, bro. Like we're gonna wait this out until we find a trade that we think is gonna benefit us." Or do you work with KD, and get him to the destination that he wants? But then, like again, that compensation that you may be looking for may not be there. So, a lot of issues going on in Brooklyn. Obviously Kyrie doesn't have a market, so to speak. A lot of teams are not. There's only really one team that's in on him, and that's the Lakers. And it's a crazy situation right now. Josiah, wanting a new culture, and what do you guys do? If you guys were the GM or said owner,
Hmm.
how would you handle this situation? Would you trade KD? And if you were to trade KD, where and for who?
Uh, I'm I'm not picking a side right now. I'm gonna just say this: if Gobert could get 5 draft picks, Just imagine how much KD can get. But I'll say I'll probably trade him because having both of these guys just like to your point, you say you want a new culture, right? So if I have these two guys still on the roster by the time the season starts, just team morale, everything's gonna get brought down. So if I was to trade them, I don't know. I will want pick
Hmm.
back in return. Obviously, these will be two separate deals. So
It
like
could work as a multi mega team trade where Kyrie and KD are both in the same trade. It
what
can work.
yeah. Um, I'm not sure who you would get back. I think you can hit up Phoenix and try to see what's up with Aiden. And then also, if they pull the trigger on this Laker deal, they would get Russ as well too. But then, what does the fit look like with Russ and and Ben Simmons? You know,
I don't believe for 1 second that Russell Westbrook and Ben Simmons will be on the same team. So
shattered backboard. But
No.
wow,
yeah,
wow,
a
that
shattered backboard.
wow, that was a crazy
Backboard.
stray. That
Wow.
that was a crazy stray.
Yeah, I'll say
Oh man.
Aiden. Give me some picks. Um, trying to see who's and probably try to see what's up with Donovan and then just figure it out. That's my idea. But for me to keep them, nah, I don't keep them because they're gonna be frustrated. You know, you're gonna have two top probably top 10 players in the league not wanting to play the season because they won out. And everything you built for the past since 2019, getting them to come to Brooklyn and having James Harden all in the same season and losing all of them in the same season, that's crazy. So I don't think you go back to the drawing board. I don't think you start from scratch. You're like, all right, we'll try to contend a different way. You know, I think with KD, you send them, you with the both of them, you send both of them to opposite conference. You don't want them in the same conference, but I think you don't keep them. You trade them.
Eric,
Hmm. So
take your
Kevin
take
Durant.
your take your victory lap
No,
because
no.
we all know New York Knicks fans are loving the
Listen,
shambles that's happening across the river.
listen. Everyone's talking about the Knicks expansion. The
Knicks is working
Brooklyn Nets have
their own
the
issues. I think
yeah.
that's like, you know, go ahead. Go ahead.
Listen. Uh, so the Nets have all the leverage because of Kevin Durant's contract, right? He signed. Remember, he's last summer he signed a 4 year extension, 200 million, no opt out clause. So now
No,
a year
he
later,
has a there's no trade clause in there. Like
there's no trade clause, no
he can't
no opt out.
dictate.
So basically, he really can't dictate where he wants to go. All the cars belong to the Nets. They can ship him off to wherever they feel like was going to give him the best offer. Basically, take it or leave it. Um, if I was Sean Marks and Joe Tsai, actually Sean Marks, I'm gonna I'm gonna take a crack. I'm gonna take a crack at the Raptors.
Mm.
I think because I think
If they don't, now they've been hard pressed on not including
yeah,
Scotty
it's
Barnes.
Scotty Barnes. That's the thing though. So if not, I think there's gonna be a sleeper team that goes that makes it straight with the Nets. Um, yes. And talk about the Warriors. I don't see that happening. No.
No,
Um,
I
Thunder.
believe
No. Um, Phoenix. I can see that, but they're gonna have to. They just re-signed Devin Booker, so I don't know about that. Utah. they just traded
You would have
5
really
first
sent
round picks.
you would have really sent KD to Utah.
Nah,
That's wild. That's
nah,
wild.
nah.
I think
You
to
know,
Eric's
I'm
point,
thinking.
if
You know what? No, you know what I'm thinking. I think the Pelicans. I know because you can. I can pair him up with Zion and give back a load of picks that they have, and Brandon Ingram and those other young guys. If I can find a way to make to, because I can match those salaries and pair him up with Zion. I might have something there. I might have something there. But the thing is that what's so interesting is that teams are not rushing to get Kevin Durant. He's
He's
34. He's
34, man.
probably starting to like peak past his prime. And if you're telling me that if I'm going to have to give up everything for Kevin Durant and he comes to my team, is he going to be committed to staying there for those 4 years? And by the time the fourth year comes, he's going to be 38 with that contract. So I got to think about the back end of his contract, the back end of his career, and the back end of the deal that I'm trying to get him in. So there's a reason why we're in the holding pattern because teams are really trying to figure out what's the end game. Because if you get KD, you got to win the championship the first 2 years of that contract, basically. Because those last 2 years, you never know what's going to happen. He might prime, he might not be in his prime. He still might be in his prime, but you give up all your draft capital leverage. Now you're out of luck on those draft picks that you might want to use down the line. So I'm gonna say the Pelicans as a sleeper team,
I mean,
but
The Pelicans deals work. Like if you do Brandon Ingram, Herb Jones, and Larry Nance Jr. The salaries match up. You could do a Kevin Durant trade. Now, obviously, you throwing 5 picks and those 2 guys that may entice Brooklyn, but do the Hornets want to move off of
the
those
Pelicans,
guys? So that's the thing. But I mean, if I get Kevin Durant, Zion, and CJ McCollum, I'm in
yeah, that's a
pretty good
championship.
shape.
Yeah, that's a championship. I'm a contention right now
Right,
if we
that's a
make that move.
contender. That's sure. It sure is a contender for sure. Um, oh man, listen, it's a players' league. We know this. Um, if Kevin Durant says he wants out, damn it, you
Yeah,
got
he
to
wants
send him
out.
out.
We gotta send him out.
I know the Nets are doing a lot of posturing with the we're gonna hold on to these guys till training camp,
But
and
they, I,
we're gonna try to
but
figure
they're
it
in a
out.
lose-lose situation. They're in a lose-lose situation
Right,
regardless. If you
right.
really think about it.
Because for one, the issue is that Kyrie could just walk, man. Like you're not gonna reap any benefits or any assets for him, right? As much as you don't want him around, you cannot let him walk. Or like the reports of they're okay with letting him sit out the year. That is just ridiculous.
Nah,
Like I don't believe that for
nah.
1 second that you would rather pay this man. He listen to this. He sat out last year and lost 17 million on his own by sitting out because he didn't take the vaccine. Then you're gonna sit there and tell me the following year because he doesn't want to be there, you would rather pay him $36 million to sit out and not
To
reap
sit
any
out.
assets in return and let him walk right into the Lakers for nothing? No. So I believe with that situation, and him not getting the extension, KD's like, hey man, it is what it is. Now, I do believe there's a small chance Kevin Durant may return. But I also believe that if that man asks for a trade, you grant him that wish. I know it's like frowned upon because he's on a contract. I understand. I get that. And credit to LeBron James because LeBron James has never asked for a trade. Yes, he's insinuated some moves and strong arm front
Nope.
offices to do things, but
GM,
he has look
Mm-hmm.
GM, but he's fulfilled his contractual obligations every single time. Every single time he's changed the team, he's had a right to do that because he was a free agent. Needless to say, I get it. I think the team. I think New Orleans is a sleeper, but I think the team evidently will be Phoenix, because that is where he wants to go, and but Phoenix has to figure this out before Saturday, um, because if the offer sheet is there for DeAndre Ayton,
they're gonna sign it because
it gets real murky for them in that scenario.
hmm
So and then obviously the sleeper is Toronto because of what Masai Ujiri has done in the past with Kawhi Leonard. You know, he's had no problem taking a flyer on him for 1 year, trading the franchise player at the time for Kawhi. Um, for me, I'm giving up Scotty Barnes. I don't care. I'm giving up Scotty Barnes. I'm giving up Princess Achua. I'm giving up Gary Trent. I don't care. I'm giving it up because I have Kevin Durant for 4 years. It's not a rental. I have him for 4 years. You know what I'm saying? So if it takes Scotty Barnes and Pascal Siakam, or if it takes Scotty Barnes and Gary Trent Jr., if it
Fred,
takes, you
or
know,
Fred VanVleet.
I think they'll try to keep him as
But
much as
then again,
possible.
yeah,
But like if the sticking point is Scotty Barnes, take him. I don't like you can have him because that Kevin Durant now puts me to the fold, into contention. So listen, I like the Toronto deal. I don't know if Katie's want to go if he wants to go there, but I'm
I heard
sure he will be treated like the sixth guy. So
I
he
heard
has
that
a whole country to
I heard that
himself.
he was up there. I seen that he was up there not so long ago. Kevin
Well,
Durant.
we'll see.
So we'll see.
You know,
Peace.
all I'm saying is, there is some valley houses. You know what I'm saying? That's been looked at by Mr. Durant. Um, and but maybe he turns around and realizes he can't make his way to Phoenix, and Toronto's the place that he kind of sees that looks good for him. On the Kyrie thing, listen, the trade happening, y'all. Like
Hmm.
the
Get it
trade is
done.
happening. Um,
Sean
Yeah.
Marks, get it
is
done.
now am I do I believe in my personal opinion that Russ it won't be good, won't be better than he was last season? I believe he will. Um, Even if the trade doesn't go down, like I'm not the fan that like needs Russ off the team. Um, I just believe the fit, talent wise and skill set wise, is just exponentially better.
I feel like
Than
he can't play any worse than he did last year. Like
yeah,
it really can't get any worse than last year, man.
yeah, and that's what I'll be trying to tell fans. Like, yo, like
I
I get it, I understand how bad he played, but like everybody was bad, man. Like it wasn't just him.
hmm
You know what I'm saying? Like people like put that magnifying glass on because it's Russell Westbrook. Like, he has a huge following, huge fan base, and those Russ stands can get nasty, and we know this. But like, it wasn't just him, man. Like that team, bro. He Vogel ran lineups of Isaiah Thomas, Russell Westbrook, Avery Bradley, Stanley Johnson, and Melo at the five. Like that like you can't
I
expect
remember.
yeah, you can't expect Russ to be
hmm
successful in that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So and and with the whole issue between him and Vogel, like people underestimate like those things. So if the trade doesn't happen, you know what I'm saying, and somehow like Lakers pivot elsewhere, whatever, and they bring Russ back. The Lakers have no problem bringing Russ back. And the notion that the Lakers have to give up everything for Kyrie
Look, you
Irving
gotta
is ridiculous. They don't have to.
not
They're betting against
not
themselves.
not to interrupt you, but we just got a report from Dave McMiniman saying Lakers and Nets GMs will sit down to meet and work out a
Mhm.
Kyrie trade.
Yeah.
Yep. Because and that goes to my point of the Nets have in this situation, the Nets have no leverage because Kyrie's already said, and I got information. Kyrie's already told people LA is the place. I'm going to go, regardless
Mm.
if I'm on the Nets or if I'm a free agent. I'm going to LA. So if you trade for me, it is a rental. We saw the same thing happen with Anthony
Why?
Davis. What
Yep.
Anthony Davis did was Anthony Davis was just saying, "Yo, I'm a free agent next season. I'm not going to resign and stay with the Pelicans, but I'm going to the Lakers. I'm letting y'all know. So if y'all trade for me, it's a rental.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So listen, I get it. Um, but it's happening, man. You know what I'm saying? It's happening. Um, it's gonna be some great stuff, man. At the crypto, listen, it's not even gonna be called crypto anymore. It's going back to staples with this because like this is this big three. This is a big three now. Um, will be something will be reckoned with. But again, the biggest thing is health. LeBron and AD have to be healthy in order for this thing to work. If AD's playing
Mm-hmm.
40 games, we're not doing anything. If LeBron James is playing 50 games, we're not doing anything. If Kyrie Irving's playing 20 games, we're not doing anything. So at the end of the day, these guys got to be there and show up in order for us to get some wins. But listen, the trade is happening. And what capacity? I think it's a three-team deal. There's no coincidence that all of a sudden the Spurs have been talked about. Personally, do I think San Antonio is going to help the Lakers? No, I don't believe that 1 second that Greg Popovich wants to help the Lakers organization. That
Yeah.
hell must have froze over, and
Mm-hmm.
we're in a multiverse if that happens. But um, I do think there was a three-team deal they're discussing as the framework of the trade. And they're trying to find maybe another team. I think the Spurs got thrown in there as a leverage tactic, to maybe entice some other teams to kind of get involved. But the trade is happening, man, as it seems. And you know, whether it's Joe Harris, and again, if it's Joe Harris, the Lakers should not capitulate to give up 2 picks unprotected. I'm okay with giving up 1 pick with that because Joe Harris obviously does have some injury history. If it's Seth Curry, fine, do what you got to do because Seth Curry is a 40% 3-point shooter. He's going to spread the floor. Oh my God, the pick and roll between AD and Kyrie Irving with Seth Curry on the floor is going to be unguardable because the drop coverage is going like, what are you going to do if Anthony Davis is rolling to the basket and Kyrie Irving's at the top of the key? It's going to be masterful stuff. But all I'm saying is the trade happening, and for anybody who thinks that LeBron, AD, and Kyrie Irving ain't gonna work is smoking crack. Seriously, because because there's no way you could tell me a LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving trio is marginal, mediocre at best. Like no, it's not happening. So um, we will welcome Kyrie Irving to Los Angeles. I know some good taco spots for you, brother.
We out here, we in the East Coast. We'll package bags for him, man.
You,
Like,
what?
let's go.
What?
Let's
Listen,
go,
you
man.
need an Uber or something, whatever, bro. I get you to the airport. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, this is think about Cleveland taking out Kevin Love and putting Anthony Davis.
Mhm.
Like people are underestimating that because personally, I think Anthony Davis is my sleeper for a league MVP. Sleeper because I think he's going to have a great year this coming year. Obviously, with LeBron and Kyrie Irving, if Kyrie Irving's on the team, even if Russ is on the team, because I think Russ is still going to have a better year. Um, it'll be tricky for AD, but like, man, with AD kind of like picking up, the slack, because I do think LeBron he won't average 30 next season, but he's still going to have a solid year. Kyrie Irving, Kyrie Irving, Kyrie Irving had a 60 ball last season. People forget that, son. Like he scored 60 in a game last year after after not playing half of the year. Like think about it. He was part time. That man was in shape, ready to go. Didn't matter. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting geeked over this. This is insane. This is insane. This is insane. This is insane.
And the Brooklyn Nets had Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Ben Simmons, and couldn't do nothing with it,
Yeah.
which is amazing. Which is like like I'm still trying to figure out how you didn't get to at least the conference finals, let alone the NBA finals.
It's all availability. That's it. That's the reason.
Eh, yeah, but wow. I mean,
Yeah.
What
I
what
ain't
a
mad though.
what a
Yeah.
sad situation. I'm gonna say sad, but like what a crazy like. Do you call it a failure? Like, would you call this a
Yeah,
failure?
Yeah.
yeah.
And
It has to
look,
be.
bring that up.
Like oh,
That reminds me of an episode we had. I'll say, kind of before the trade deadline, when we asked Eric who was who
who's the most disappointing?
the team.
I was watching, and you know what was, you know what's funny? I was watching the
He's
episode and I
something.
said the Brooklyn Nets. It's like,
He
how wait?
sees something.
Yo, you know
And
what's
I'm like,
crazy?
what?
I have to stand corrected, Eric, because I try to pack you up for that. Because I was like, what? Like I was like, how in the world are they the most disappointing team? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And
he sees something.
man,
Eric is a prophet.
yo, 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 like
No, it's like because the thing is like at that time it was like okay, Kevin Durant, like this is before the KD injury, right?
Yeah,
Right. This
it
is
was
like in like late January, right?
was first in the car.
Right.
Well, not late James because it was on a losing streak. But I think we might have filmed this episode probably like in December or something
yeah,
like that.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was in December, and I was thinking like, wait a minute, the 21-9 at home, the 21-9 overall, how they just was disappointing. Like I just to me it was like I just didn't like I saw some things I didn't like. It's like you playing the Marcus Aldridge more minutes than Nick Claxton. Steve Nash don't know what the hell he's doing coaching wise. You leaving
foreshadow.
Kevin Durant all by himself, like
Yep,
and no Kyrie Irving, and then Kyrie comes back and Kevin Durant gets hurt. They
yep.
go on an 11-game losing streak. Then James Harden, and then also during that time, there was rumors about James Harden wanting out. And then guess what happened a couple weeks later? He gets traded to the Sixers. And then Ben Simmons comes along, does nothing. It's like literally like, oh, is he gonna play if they got those three guys healthy? If I'm like, if that's the case, then nothing's happening with that team. So now, and then during the playoffs, which was like a clown circus, it's like, oh, you're gonna actually bring back Ben Simmons game 4 with the back injury to
remember I
really
told y'all.
help you
I
out
told y'all when we talked about
uh,
that, and I was like, something don't seem right about that whole scenario. I'm like, wait a
yeah, it's
minute,
like it made no sense. Like why like just don't have him play at all. Just like
right?
have him sit out the rest of the season. He's trying to save face, he's trying to save the whole franchise, like trying to like just cut your losses, and now it's falling apart. And
You see,
the fact that there are rumblings about them returning is like, why? They told you once Kevin Durant said he wants out, you gotta cut ties. Once we heard about the Kyrie Irving situation that y'all wasn't giving the long-term extension, that's it.
hmm
So now they gotta they gotta make moves.
yeah, yep.
Yeah, you're right, man.
And
You're preaching the
and and
gospel.
all- and and I'm sorry to say, but it's been a failure. This is a massive failure, man. Like, and on top of that, like people who's trying to especially during once KD announced, they were trying to like defend the Nets and like how are you trying to defend this? Like this was a total failure. I'm sorry, this is a total failure. Richard Jefferson, Jay Williams.
Wow,
Yes,
strays,
I'm calling
strays,
y'all both out.
strays.
Listen, like y'all Nets
Woo!
owners,
Ladies
like
and
y'all
gentlemen,
are
we are witnessing
crying,
a pop.
sullying,
Black
y'all
He's
getting packed
setting.
Wolf.
on Twitter. I'm
He said,
sorry, but nah. It's 3 years, the 3 year anniversary of them coming to Brooklyn, the 3 year anniversary. So basically, June of 2019, clean sweep. KD and Kyrie to the Brooklyn Nets. Barclays to the new mecca of basketball.
it was lit on
June,
Atlantic.
Yeah,
man, in
so,
June
so-
2022.
sounds like a lot of LA our way.
Exactly.
You bums,
Ugh.
Kawhi Leonard. You bums.
In June of
That
2022.
off season was something to remember, man. Something to remember.
Yeah, that was a wild off season.
It was the year of the
Yeah, it's
duos.
Yes, it was the year of the
yeah.
duos. It was the year of the
Duos.
Yep.
duos. Yep.
The Nets and the Clippers. The Clippers did it way sneaky, like 2 in the morning.
I don't want to talk about that
It's
Yeah.
facts.
because they they,
So
they they
anyway,
they they use us for real.
Imagine
yeah.
wake.
So anyway,
Yeah,
yeah.
ain't fun.
It was like now June 2022, after being swept twice, and then and then uh, losing to the Bucks in overtime. Now and everyone's talking about the Kevin Durant only being like toenail away from winning the series as he was. But what happened in overtime? He ran out. They
Yeah,
say he ran out of
people,
gas, this and
people
that.
tend to
But
forget there was a whole overtime, man. Like,
yeah,
I
the
get it,
people
but like, yo,
they had a whole overtime, and he didn't show up. I'm sorry. Nah,
Yeah,
this
go off,
this
man.
was this was a massive failure in epic proportion.
Yeah,
You two, you had two to three
oh,
of
there's more.
three basically future Hall of Famers. I mean, you talking about masterclass of dysfunction, and they were losing money left, and Josiah was losing money.
Yeah, I knew something was in the water when Josiah. The first thing that the organization had said after they got swept was how much money he had to pay in the tax and how much money the franchise was losing. I was like, oh, okay, that's weird. So hey, listen, writing's on the wall, and it's a crazy situation. I hope Katie's next team is like the team that is like you know, you know what? Honestly, no. I, s- I saw this thread on Twitter, and I kind of agree with it. Like, Katie should just be a mercenary in the league. Just go to every team, right? Get everybody mad.
Exactly.
Go to every team, make them a
Hmm.
contender. Get a shot at winning a chip, and then go to the next team and do this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just be a mercenary. I like embrace that. Be like Deadshot. You know what I'm saying? Like, be that guy. Just be like, F it, man. Like, I'm going to every. I don't care what y'all say. I'm going to every team. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to try to win a chip for every single squad because I'm that guy. So. But listen, personally, I hope he finds a team that he wants to play with, wants to play for, and kind of entrenches his legacy there. But I also like the mercenary take, man. He could go just what I mean, like that'd be wild. Every year he just acts out.
I think it's just adding on. It's just gonna keep continuing to diminish his legacy because people still feel salty about him signing to the Warriors back in 2016, and like people don't respect his rings at all. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
they
yeah.
still like
Honestly, over the last 10 years, the two championships that get disrespected the most is Kevin Durant's chips and the bubble chip.
in the
Like
bubble. Yep.
those are the
Hmm.
two chips that no one
Hmm.
wants to give any credit to, which is like wow to me, but whatever.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I was watching somebody sent me a clip. Y'all probably seen it, but I forget this guy's name. But he was saying like, what has Kevin Durant done for people? And he just started to go through a list.
Oh, Emmanuel Acho.
Yeah, there you go. He started to go through a
Yeah, he
list of like
be he be
all the
talking crazy,
things.
but yeah,
But that was a valid point. That
yeah,
was a valid point that he did bring up. He went to Oklahoma, well, he got drafted, and brought him to the finals, and he dipped out. Went to the Warriors, got a championship. But like we already knew what the Warriors was about. They went to the finals last year. They was if Kyrie don't hit that shot and LeBron don't get that block, who knows what happens? You know what I mean? So
yeah,
he comes to Brooklyn is like, what does he do? So it's like, what is Kevin Durant doing for other people? Like we understand he's doing things for himself, but it's like, what is he doing for teams and franchises and other players? But his legacy is already tarnished. Don't get me wrong, Kevin Durant is a hell of a player. You know, what generational talent? Somebody who's that tall, but that skilled. Like play like that doesn't really come often. But yeah, it's already flushing down the toilet.
yeah. And remains to be seen in the next coming days. I feel like we'll get some traction on some movement with the Nets. Especially by the time August, I think, comes around, at least late August, going into September, this team will look completely different, and those guys will be where where they ultimately want to be. So
Hmm.
until then, before
What's
we
going
before we
for?
before we before we go off, summer league is live as we know. What are you
What?
looking forward to? Armani with the Lakers and Eric with the Knicks. Obviously these are guys that are probably going to play some type of roles on these teams coming up. So, what are you guys looking for?
Just great basketball. I didn't really get to sit down and watch any summer league games because I've been working a lot.
Yo,
Um,
Cole Swider's that guy, man. Just want to let you know, Cole Swider, he can shoot.
I've been seeing, I've been hearing about Scottie Pippen Jr. You know,
Yes, Scottie Pippen Jr., Cole Swider, and Max Christie. Those three guys have been like a hell of a rookie class for the Lakers thus far. Like
mm,
their scouting team has done really well.
yeah, and then also like I'm interested to see what Sharif looks like. You know, because he hasn't been the same since he had the heart surgery. So I like just the to see that we have some of these the Hall of Fame, some of their offsprings is actually playing with our summer league team. I just think that's kind of dope, you know. So
Yeah,
I'm actually looking forward to that.
As
Eric on the
far as
Knicks.
for me, as far as for me, looking forward to see the second years of McBride, Grimes, Jericho Sims, who just got turned from a two-way contract to a 3-year contract. So looking forward to him seeing also Trevor Keels from Duke. Um, and also Jesus Montero. There's he's been he didn't get drafted, but there was a lot of intriguing analysis about Montero. So interesting to see how he fits into that and how and also just those three main guys. I'm looking forward to see and also Trevor Keels and Montero. See how they shake up and what it's going to mean heading towards the preseason and regular season. But basically McBride, Quinn Grimes, and Jericho Sims. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, and yeah, and tonight, we got Jabari Smith and Pablo Banchero playing against each other today in a few minutes. About to tip off on ESPN, Rockets and Magic. So that'll be good to see. But
Hmm.
yeah, man. I
Also,
go ahead.
also not to also we got a it's a very important issue we got to talk about. This involves Utah Jazz. Now that the Rudy Gobert trade's been done, Donovan Mitchell, we got to really keep an eye on that because
Hmm.
there's rumblings saying that they're staying pat, but league sources are saying that the rest of the league executives don't even believe that.
Yeah, I
So
don't, I don't, I don't
keep
believe it
keep
either.
an eye
But
on that.
yeah,
Keep an eye
I
on
don't
that
believe, it either. We'll see.
because that's gonna
Danny
be the
Ainge
next
is known to
because
move.
that's gonna be the next that's gonna be the next big domino move after if once I think once after Durant gets traded and Kyrie gets traded, that's the next big domino move that's gonna happen next.
Yeah, yeah, I believe so.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, the Lakers, drafted Max Christie. Also, getting Cole Swider. Picking up Scottie Pippen Jr., picking up Sharif O'Neal. These guys. Cole Swider, is a really really damn good shooter. His first summer league game, he made five threes. Scottie Pippen Jr. has been putting up solid numbers as a point guard, and Max Christie, man, can really rebound and defend. Has to get some weight on him a little bit, but he can definitely he showed some bright spots in defending, but he's long, he's a good wing, so definitely good. Kudos to the Lakers scouting department, the Bus Bros. They've been doing a phenomenal job for years. With the likes of Caruso and Reeves and Kuzma and Josh Hart. Getting those guys late in the draft or the second round, or undrafted. They've done a good job. So, but yeah, free agency still on, and as soon as I assume this weekend we'll get some more like traction. There's going to be like info wars with all these insiders this weekend. Be prepared for all that back and forth news and triggering the fan base and all that stuff because man, it's taxing. And one last question before we get off: what do you guys think of the Jeannie Buss tweet? If you guys saw the tweet, do you think she was taking a shot at LeBron?
Nah, I ain't really like that.
I just is this the one where she brought up Kobe?
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, I honestly, personally, I didn't think nothing of it. You know, I was just like, it's something how we all feel every single day. You know, like just whatever situation you're in, you just wish that you had his guidance, like on your side, like whether you knew him personally or not. It's kind of like us as people, we all go do different things in life, and sometimes like if you looked up to him as a person and a basketball player and knew what he stood about and just knew how some of his interviews how he spoke and what he spoke about. Obviously, he was talking about the game, but also like it can be, uh, what's the word? It could be applied to life as well too. So I just think that it was just one of those like that's, you know, they buddies, you know, and it's kind of like that's like looking for big bro, you know, like when you're in doubt, you go to Big Bro for answers. You know, you go to Master Yoda for everything because you know Master Yoda is going to give you great guidance. So that's just all I thought about it. I didn't like see her taking a shot. You know, I know Lakers media and just the media in general. Oh, he's you know, but like, nah, I ain't see it that way.
Yeah, I didn't understand what the freaking like hoopla was about. I have those moments sometimes and be like, damn, like, what would Kobe think or say in this situation or whatever, and I wasn't even close to Kobe. Like like, she watched him grow up, man. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
there's a different level of intimacy and affection that she has for Kobe. Um, and she could have just been like just sitting around and like
Yeah,
I just wanted to express my feelings on Twitter and like and yes, it could have been about like the situation right now and the roster changes and things of that nature. I understand that, but like I ask people like, why would she want to take a shot at her franchise player on Twitter? Like
mm-hmm.
that doesn't make any sense to me. So, um, hey, listen, I just think we instead of jumping out and calling her names and being upset, and kind of like gatekeeping the fact that you can't share your feelings about Kobe. Like I get it, it's sensitive for a lot of people, but like look at the person that's tweeting. This is Jeannie Buss here. This is the owner of the Los Angeles Lakers. She has watched Kobe Bryant grow up from his teens. This is a different level of understanding here. So
She's
right, you know what I'm saying. So I don't take nothing from that about what she said, and people just like making it a big deal for no reason. So,
yeah, yep.
but on that note, we close out, and so next time, man, hopefully we get some news this weekend. And if we do, we'll schedule to a prompt show for
That
our reaction and things of that nature. I'm sorry,
hopefully
say that again.
hopefully that picture behind you is truth, man. Hopefully.
Hopefully, hopefully, we'll see. We
Hopefully,
will see.
man.
We will see. But thank you guys for tuning in. And again, let's not forget Brittany Griner. Let's make sure that we're signing those petitions and we're making our voice heard to get her home. Yeah, because I fear she's not in a good situation. So,
Yep.
but yeah, thoughts and prayers are with her and her family, her wife. Um, so yeah, until next time, guys. Peace and love, and enjoy some basketball.
Yes,
Yep.
sir. Peace.